This time I'd like to call the meeting of the Madison County Fiscal Court to order. Kenny?
Master King.
Here.
Master Barger.
Here.
Master Hughes.
Here.
Master Combs.
Here.
Judge Clark.
Here. We got minutes of the last meeting. Y'all have had a chance to look at those. If there are no changes, there's no discussion on any item in those, a motion be in order to approve as submitted in your packets.
So move.
Second.
Master King.
Yes.
Master Barger.
Yes.
Master Hughes.
Yes.
Master Combs.
Yes.
Judge Clark.
Okay, treasurer's report, Glenna, we're 2 weeks off from there, aren't we? Okay, we're going into order of business. First, it's a real privilege for me to ask the board support to appoint Leslie Carr to the Madison County Library Board. Leslie's been interested in this for a long time, and we had a resignation and a position came open, and I called her, and she is very, very much interested in being part of the library. And Leslie, at this time, because our magistrates would like to put a face to a name, they don't like to run into somebody on the street and not know who they are. We appointed them. So if you and Ruthie, if you don't mind to come up with her, come up and just tell us a few things about yourself and why you're looking forward to working with the library board.
All right. My name is Leslie Carr, and I teach second grade at Glen Marshall. I'm working on my master's currently at Eastern. And I find a passion for children. Obviously, that's what I work with every day. But I also see that the library, for the kids especially that I've worked with, it's an opportunity that a lot of them have that no other opportunity do they have. When they get home from school, a lot of them can walk to the library and check out books. And I find that a lot of children really are influenced by reading. So I'm looking forward to maybe growing the library, making people more aware, making teachers more aware that they can use the library, which will bring more people to our library. So I'm just blessed to have the opportunity, and I hope that it works out. So.
And
We're thrilled to have the opportunity to work with you. So,
Well, thank you, Ruthie.
And you'll love Ruthie. She's 150% library.
I can tell we've already met at Purdy, so
Good deal.
it's very nice.
I'd open the court up for any questions you might have for Leslie.
It's always good to have somebody want to volunteer and work on a board that we do have. And with our boards, as we look at, as our standpoint, this is the only time we have ability to question or, to make sure we all on the same page as our process that we have in our tax revenues and stuff like that. Billy always quotes taxation without representation. This is where we have it, and we just like, as I would, as to look as a conservative view is when, you look at all the projects that we also take the residents in consideration when we putting a burden on them. So other than that, that's all I have.
The library's already got a good board, but you'll fit in well.
Thank you.
Roger represents the court on the board, so he'll
Okay.
be there at the meetings.
Okay.
Larry, do you have anything?
No question.
Larry?
Well, you always, Roger and Greg says they want a face with the person they're hiring. You won't forget her face.
Thank you.
But welcome.
Thank you so much.
Okay, if there are no further questions, a motion will be in order to allow me to appoint Leslie Carr to the Madison County Library Board with her term appointment expiring January 1st of 2017.
So move.
Second.
Master King.
Yes.
Master Barger.
Yes.
Master Hughes.
Yes.
Master Combs.
Yes.
Judge Clark.
Yes, Leslie,
Yes, sir.
great to see you.
Thank
you very
you.
much. We look forward to working with you. Ruthie, thank you for everything you do. We really
Paul, for
appreciate
everything
you.
that you do, and I also want to just take a moment to thank Magistrate Barger for puts many, many hours into the library board each month and works on committees with us and is always a great source for us. And Judge Clark, you as well, have always been a great mentor to us, so we appreciate it.
Thank you all very much.
Thank
Leslie, you
you.
can get back to class.
Thank you.
Okay, next I've got EMS. Carlos is here and Jimmy's here in the back. I don't know why they're sitting in the back, but as we always do, and the court has really started this tradition 4 or 5 years ago, they'd love for our taxing districts especially, and our sanitation district and water districts to come in and give a report Tell us how they're doing, and Jimmy, I think, is going to do the EMS and maybe all of the coroner's office too, Jimmy?
Yeah, both of us are, Carlos and I.
Carlos is going to do it. Carlos is a deputy coroner also. So, I'd like to take about 10 minutes to let Jimmy tell you all exactly what they're doing, which is a bunch, I promise you.
Do I have to type anything on this before I start? That's what you want, me touching a computer. It's always a pleasure to come before fiscal court, and my 5-member board is always enthusiastic about us coming here and telling you about our year ending and how we've progressed and how things are going. I passed out some numbers for you there. Just to give you some sort of idea, Madison County EMS responded to 16,024 runs last year, which includes emergency and non-emergency requests. We have a staff of 65 employees, 45 full-time and 20 part-time. That consists of manager, assistant manager, training, 3 shift commanders, 2 office personnel, 37 paramedics, and 20 EMTs. So we have grown from the days of when I started, when there was 15 of us, covering the whole county with 3 ambulances. We have currently 7 advanced life support ambulances that are staffed 24 hours per day, 3 units at our EKU new bypass location, 2 units at the Berea station, 1 unit at Keeneland Drive, and 1 at Enterprise Drive. We also have 2 additional impact trucks, and what we mean by that is the high volume times Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. that are manned by part-time and or full-time, depending on who signs up for those trucks. We have our, excuse me, our budget for the year of $5,380,000. If there's a breakdown of there, the property taxes of $2 million, auto taxes $300,000, collections $3 million, and other revenue of $30,000. Potential challenges that we're looking at in EMS. Obviously, there, as there has been, and those of you who have followed this in the paper, with the taxing district issues, and I respect that very much because I think there are issues with it. I just don't think those issues are with Madison County EMS. I had talked to Adam before. I'm sure that you saw the correspondence that he and I bounced back off each other a couple of times there when the thought was that we had not complied with what we had. At which time I took all copies to the Richmond Register and gave it to the editor there to show her, and I received a call from Adam saying it was a computer glitch and that he would forward us a letter to my board stating that, and I'm still waiting for the letter. But we have decreasing collections due to cutbacks in Medicare, Medicaid, and unclear funding from Affordable Health Care Act implementation. Decrease in collections due to unstable economy, equaling loss of commercial insurance reimbursement, inability to collect private pay, and obviously increase in operating costs due to the economy, especially our fuel, retirement, and utility cost. So all that in a nutshell. We are doing well. We watch what we spend. My 5-member board is, I mean, we send their packet out, and I know, especially Dr. Burkett, our newest member, when he comes and opens his notebook up and he's got it there and you see things circled, that he's gone through it from head to toe. And I mean, they do not hesitate to call myself or call Carlos if they have questions. I assure you, when we had the question about from Adam Edelman and the articles in the paper, I received 2 calls very quickly on that Sunday morning. And, of course, I didn't have a clue what they were talking about until I got the paper. But anyway, enough of that. We are very fortunate. We are still looking to expand in Berea. As a matter of fact, Judge Clark, I received a call yesterday from Steve, who you and I met with. And I know that you talked to the president of the college, and he spoke to me about that yesterday. They've got a couple of places they want me to come over and look at. We need to expand our Berea business because business in Berea has expanded, obviously, population and everything else. We'd like to, we are landlocked. We don't have enough room to house our people. We need to put another crew on over there. And so that is what we're trying to look at right now. And again, with the economy the way it is, we need to be very careful spending our money and what we do with it. We have recently purchased 4 new ambulances. 2 actually were from the last budget year, and 2 for this budget year ending, because we didn't get our ambulances for some unknown reason that we had ordered, and so we had to finally just cancel that and go with another vendor, in which that so far has ended very well. You know, on the back of your sheet there, it tells you a little history about emergency medical services. I don't need to go over that. Most of you here know about it and what has taken place with it. But obviously, we're 24/7, and there's never a dull moment. As we expand as a population, and the problems that we're seeing with drugs in our county, which I will relate to here in just a minute with the coroner's office, you know, business is solid, unfortunately. Any questions on anything there that you have, or from anyone in the crowd, or anything about the EMS that I can answer for you?
On that emergency, non-emergency, what would you guess be the percent breakdown between emergency?
What would you think?
Probably running about 60%
Yeah.
non-emergency and about 40% emergency. And since we do it all for the entire county, that changes a little bit, but our numbers stay pretty constant with that.
And Magistrate Hughes, lots of times, you know, we get dispatched to something that's an emergency. When we get there, we deem it not an emergency. You know, if it's you that's involved in your family, it's an emergency. And there's times when we go to the hospital to make transfers that they deem it an emergency. When we get there, it doesn't fall within our criteria, okay? So, you know, those numbers change a whole lot.
Jimmy, I know we had spoke some time back about expanding Bria. Of course, I'm not going to name any locations or anything, but the one that you and I talked about, you think that's a go?
That's not the one that they want me to look at right now. But it's still, that was not shoveled aside.
That's a good location.
It would be excellent, and it would I think, benefit 2 departments.
Yeah.
We're looking at, and Jimmy and I had met with Steve, who's the maintenance man over there. He oversees all operations. And I was talking to the president the other day, told him, you know, I know he's busy, but we haven't heard from him, and I'm glad that I heard that.
Yesterday.
Jimmy said he
I got
called
the
you
call
back.
yesterday.
He said, he assured me that they would be back in touch with us. But, you know, they're looking at some central location where they're just as close to downtown Berea and Berea College as the interstate or 1016. The key is being able to have room to expand and also to be centralized to take care of anybody and everybody in southern Madison County. So we're working on it, and the president assured me that we would be able to work something out.
I'm glad, because, I mean, you know, they don't give up much, you know, way.
Absolutely, absolutely.
But it just tickles me that they're willing to talk to us about it.
But the new president's super. He's just a really nice guy.
And they have been, Magistrate Combs, they've been very receptive, even in the past, to EMS. I mean, and I know they don't want us to get very far from their college, and by doing so, we don't get too far from our high school and middle schools that are right there in that general area. And that's right, and that's where we'd like to stay. You know, just the presence of it and being there if something does happen.
Well, it'll be a lot quicker
Oh, absolutely.
from where you're at.
It sure would be.
Keep up the good work.
Well, we're going to work on this. I mean, I was pleased to hear from him yesterday, and we're going to meet sometime this week and look at some property. And feel free to give me a call, and I'll explain to you what we're doing, because I know this is of great interest to you.
Well, you do a good job. I don't hear I don't hear any complaints.
Well,
you know, nobody likes to pay a bill.
Well,
but
no.
when they call that ambulance, they're glad to pay it.
Well, and we're very lucky. I'm very lucky that the staff that I have in the years, Carlos has a total of 30 or 31 years now, and of course I have a total of those years. So I would, we won't go there. But anyway, we very fortunate, very, very fortunate. Any other questions about the EMS? All right, now I'll go to the coroner's report real quick. Just some rough numbers, 187 calls last year. Involved in that, obviously, those of you who read the paper, you know, we have 5 homicides that'll go to court probably this year, which are involved with this coroner's office. It is I guess it's a challenge. The things that we're looking at, I'm seeing heroin.
Thankless is a better
Well,
word for me.
I knew what it was when I walked in the door, but I'm really concerned about our community. I'm really concerned about these drugs. Heroin is cheaper. Heroin is pure. You can ask the sheriff back here what we're seeing, and I'm just amazed. We may dry up the pill mill a little bit, but the next, when you're talking about opiates, the next move would be to go to heroin. And those of you who can remember, I can remember heroin when I was in the Republic of Vietnam and what it did to lots of people. But I'm just telling you, we're going to see a major impact with heroin in our county, I believe. I think the county attorney probably agreed with that, what we're seeing in things. It's never ending. You dry it up on one end. We see a lot, because of the economy, a lot of people even with EMS that aren't seeking medical treatment because of cost. They can't afford it. You'd be surprised how many people that we go to pick up in the ambulance who tell us, I can't go because I don't have health insurance, and we say, come on, let's go. It doesn't make any difference. But people are concerned about that, and hopefully this economy can level off here pretty quick. People that just don't seek treatment, that we make coroner's calls on, that probably 5 years ago would still be alive, and I really mean that. We've had a lot of trauma last year. We've already had a lot of trauma this year. In the first 2 months, I think in the first 24 or 25 days, we'd had 17 calls. So that business, as EMS grows, coroner's office is going to grow, and I do appreciate the new acquisition for the coroner's office. People come to my office there, and I know this doesn't mean anything to John Q. Public, but the walk-in cooler that we have where we can keep bodies, and we don't have to send everybody to Frankfurt for an autopsy because Carlos and I are trained to do toxicology reports. So it makes a big difference. It makes a big difference, and I appreciate the support that you give both EMS and the coroner's office. Any questions that you may have about the coroner's office? Most people don't want to talk about it.
You do an exceptional job, and
I appreciate that very much. And again, Carlos is my deputy, and Charlie Stiles, and Dwayne Brumley is in Berea now as the deputy. And, there's a lot of years of law enforcement. There's a lot of years of medical and things involved in there. So we have a pretty good, I think we have a good staff. I'm well pleased.
I think you're doing a wonderful job, Jimmy. Like I said, I don't know how you do some of it.
Anyone else? Anything?
Tough.
I
If not,
appreciate
we
your time.
appreciate y'all taking the
We've got
time
a
off.
meeting
I
at
know
10
you're
o'clock
both
at the ambulance
busy.
service, so we're gonna leave you.
Come in
Be
and
careful. You better be careful.
see us whenever. Okay, next on the agenda is the Historic Properties Department. I think Philip has a little announcement for us.
Morning, everybody. This is a first. Chris and I hope. This is going to be the first virtual unveiling of 3 portraits in the Madison County Courthouse. These are portraits that are given to the Madison County Fiscal Court and the people of Madison County from the department that I head up. And it's of 3 individuals that are significant in Madison County's history. But I did not do this by myself. This is Paul Rominger, the associate director out at the office, was a big guidance in this, and Chris Israel and Ryan Edson down at the IT department helped me get this together after I finally explained to them what I was wanting to do. Donna and Mike with the courthouse crew helped me get them up, and then Linda Ginner and Teresa and Francette in your office helped with some ideas and things. They're going to hang here in the fiscal courtroom, but unfortunately we won't be able to show them on television unless we do it this way. I'm just going to do a little talk about these gentlemen, and some of them you may have heard of, you just didn't realize who they were. The first one is a fellow named James Madison. It is who the county's named after, and many people don't know that. He is Thomas Jefferson's best friend. The county is named for him when he is 35 years old, and this is about what he looked like when the county was named after him. There are 20 counties nationwide named after James Madison, and we were the first. He is the father of the United States Constitution, the Bill of Rights, and came up with the concept of the Electoral College. So if you don't like that, you can blame him. He was elected president in 1808, 20 years after we were already existing as a county. Next fellow is the name of James B. McCrary. He is the 27th and 37th governor of Kentucky. He is a Madison County native. He was also a Confederate Army veteran. And his home still stands on West Main Street where the old Medical Arts building is. And he undoubtedly was in this building numerous times in his lifetime. Third was a fellow named King Johnson. He's the 45th governor of Kentucky. He was lieutenant governor under Happy Chandler and also the first undersecretary of labor under President Truman. He was also the former co-owner of the Richmond Register. And if anyone has been in the King Johnson building up at Eastern, this is who King Johnson building is named after. These portraits will hang here in the county courtroom, so when tour groups come through, school groups come through, they'll have a little idea of who we are as a people. And when the meeting is over, we'll do the real unveiling when we put the screen up. So I appreciate your all's time, and we'll just go back to the main. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. If not, we'll move on to more fun things.
Philip, do you plan on extending this program a little bit, maybe adding a portrait or two?
We have talked about maybe out in the hallway of working with Eastern Archives and having historical pictures down the hallway outside here. I'm open to any ideas on this. It's an ongoing project that will never end. You and I have talked about doing some outdoor interpretive signs around the courthouse square here, talking about the building, what Madison County is, what may have been here 50 years ago, that some people can still remember. So this is another project that will not end.
Okay.
So
we appreciate all your efforts. Okay. Next, I have 2 reappointments to the Planning Commission, and there isn't a whole lot going on in the Planning Commission, but what does go on is very important to the future of the county, and we've got 2 really good individuals that have served. They show up to the meetings and they get really involved, and I guess I ought to do these one at a time. The first one I'd like to reappoint is Shannon Pennington, and Shannon Pennington represents kind of the Kingston area all the way out through there. Shannon's doing an excellent job. And I'd like the court's permission to reappoint Shannon Pennington with a term expiring December 30th, 2016.
Move. Second.
Master King?
Yes.
Master Barger?
Yes.
Master Hughes?
Yes.
Master Combs? Yes. Judge Clark?
Yes.
One thing about Shannon, he bring new stuff in on.
Yeah.
Questions.
He does. He gets involved and he knows his homework.
He does.
The next one is Robert McKinney, and Robert, gosh, he's served on our 2 or 3 boards and just did an excellent job, and he's finishing up his first term and just from the Waco area and just doing an excellent job, and we're tickled to death with him. And with the court's permission, I'd like to reappoint Robert McKinney to a term on the Madison County Planning Commission with his term expiring December 30th of 2016.
So moved. Second.
Master King?
Yes.
Master Barger?
Yes.
Master Hughes? Yes. Master Combs?
Yes.
Judge Clark?
Yes. Next, we had a second reading of ordinance 1301, and that was amend the land use regulations concerning the zoning regulations. I think we went over this pretty much in detail on the first reading.
Dwayne wasn't here to talk about it, though. Dwayne wasn't here to talk.
Dwayne, you want to come up and talk to us a little bit about it? I tried to explain it, but I'm not as good as you are.
This is a very somewhat of a minor change to the regulations, but currently our zoning regulations just has one industrial classification, which just kind of requires everybody to fit into one category. So if you have a large industry, the Planning Commission has to look at it the same as they would a small little machine shop. And as you know, both of those obviously won't fit in the same general area. So what we attempted to do was divide that up into heavy industry and light industry, and gearing it more toward the infrastructure. Obviously, heavy industry needs to be where there's municipal sewer, where there's easier access to major highways, where you can approve light industry more in your rural corridor areas, or even in your small community areas, where if somebody wanted to open up a small machine tool shop, they could do that where they would have a minimal number of employees. It allows the Planning Commission a little more flexibility to be able to recognize and work with the smaller businesses in the smaller communities, rather than force everybody to an industrial park where they're going to have to pay the premium price for land and infrastructure.
And their list of those different categories inside the ordinance, 1301 ordinance for you, if you want to look at those.
So everybody's gonna fit somewhere.
Everybody's going to fit somewhere. And that's been the tough part on the Planning Commission. Planning Commission is very conscientious, especially of small businesses, because it's really tough to shove a small business into an industrial park if they only have half a dozen employees. It's hard to make them go to an industrial park and force them to pay the premium price for land there when they could fit very well in a small rural community.
Dwayne, just for instance, we've been dealing with a little issue, just brought it to my mind. Is this going to involve, like if subdivision's already developed and you've got spaces in front of you, is this going to let this guy move in there where he couldn't before?
Obviously, they'd have to have a zone change on it, so we'd have to look at it and see if it's compatible.
Okay. What I'm looking at is if somebody buys a lot in a subdivision, and when they bought it, we had this other regulation. If it should change to where they can move in there, it could decide whether you want to live there or not.
That's right, and fortunately, we don't have that much industrial land zoned out in the county. There's not that much out there.
Yeah.
So if we see it,
Right.
then we're gonna get to handle it. The Planning Commission's gonna get to see it, and you guys are gonna get to see it, where we can determine if it's compatible with the surrounding uses or not. And ideally, these industrial uses, even the light industry uses, they're gonna be centered more around existing commercial zoning classifications, where they're more compatible with that than right adjacent to a subdivision.
I think it's good for the rural area out in the communities that will give them opportunity, maybe to small businesses to excel and do good. So.
That's right.
Okay, any other questions about ordinance 1301? If not, upon the Planning Commission's recommendation, motion would be in order to approve ordinance 1301, kind of an ordinance, Madison County Fiscal Court amending the land use regulations, industrial property in Madison County.
So move.
Second.
Master King,
Yes.
Master Berger,
Yes.
Master Hughes.
Yes.
Master Combs.
Yes.
Judge Clark.
Yes. Scott's here. He wants to talk to us a little bit about, they've been getting some specs and things on the new dead animal truck, and he kind of felt like it was important that he went over those things with you before any decisions were made as far as looking at and trying to buy a new truck.
I've been working with Bluegrass International trucks out of Georgetown. They have the state contract price. What I have before you all is a price estimate or price quote for the state contract International 7400 series 4x2. This truck would mirror, pretty much be a twin to the recycling truck that we purchased last year. The recycling truck was a little bit cheaper due to the fact that about $4,000 was the difference between the previous state contract price and the current state contract price that came into effect in December of last year. Last year we started working with the Tobacco Settlement Board. They had an approval for $50,000 of expenditures on this truck through the Madison County Tobacco Settlement Board. So I was tasked to move forward on this, and this is where we are standing at this point. So this truck will be ready for basically a mimicked bed of the previous truck. What we'll do is we'll purchase this one off state contract price, and then the bed will have to, I've got the specifications that I've came up with for the bed. It'll have to be bidded, and we'll take sealed bids and quotes on that. So.
Have we got any rough estimates? I know Leroy's busy today. They're over here.
Rough estimate on the bed,
Yes.
Judge, I had I've added a few things here and there, but I would spec a rough estimate at $30,000 on the bed right now.
That's what I thought, and I think we've all discussed the fact that it would kind of be a no-brainer not to keep the other truck as a spare in case something did happen to one or the other, or
Exactly.
we had a really bad cow-calf system,
There-
season, and we needed 2 trucks to take care of all the farmers out
Yeah,
there.
there have been days where 25 head of livestock have been called in before. I think 27 is the most we've moved in one day since I took over management of the program, and today there were 13. And actually, a statistic from last year, 2012, was only approximately 1,300 head of livestock. We traditionally do about 1,500. So I guess you could say last year was a better year for the farmers here in Madison County.
I remember one year, and I'm not mentioning any names, there's like 65, one pile.
Wow.
They got into some stuff in an old barn.
The tobacco settlement money, it actually comes through our Farm Bureau, our local Farm Bureau, doesn't it?
No, it actually comes from the Governor's Office of Agricultural Policy.
What
Is that
money
correct?
What money did the Farm Bureau give us?
It's the same thing.
But it
Now, the
comes-
Farm Bureau gets a $5,000 grant each year to help us in operation.
And traditionally, the Tobacco Settlement Board gives us $7,500 per year operational cost on it too, along with the soil conservation. Correct? I think.
So we get a little bit. It doesn't near cover the cost of the service we provide, but it helps. Every little penny helps. But we're getting to the point where, the tobacco settlement money was fading out, and we talked to several members of that board, and they said, if you all really going to need a new truck, right now's the time to apply for the money, because in the next couple of years it won't be there.
Exactly.
So Cheryl and Scott and a whole lot of people worked on it with the board, and we were able to get approval on $50,000, and there's a match on it anyway, so it's working out just about right.
Yeah, the numbers of it being approximately $106,000 project, they wanted to see a $50,000, is equal amount of money for us. So
On the bed, I know it ain't on specs here, but we are looking to get a hydraulic winch. And
yes, sir. I've got a copy of the bed specs that I've roughly put together. I'll be happy to share with
Bring
you.
that to us, or
What, Roger?
the specs and everything, you'll bring that to us when you get it?
Yeah, I've got it ready to go. I can leave you a copy of it today if y'all want to.
I just make sure we got that on there.
It'll have I'll cover, some rough things on it, 12,000 pound hydraulic winch. I'm looking to have a wireless controls on that. Stainless steel dovetail, I've done some research. Our previous dovetail was, that's the end part of the truck, was a aluminum. I've been to Mason County, I haven't been to Mason County. I took a tour down and saw Marion County's truck. I've seen some photos of Mason County's truck, and the design around the state of the programs that are doing this. We are one of 8 counties that provide this around the state, and we're only one of the only 2 that provide it for free. So obviously it's a great benefit for our farmers to have this great free service. But around the state, the trucks that I have seen, the 2 that I have seen, and I saw a 3rd one, do have stainless steel dovetails that allows for just the rear end of the truck to withstand the pulling motion on it. So.
Okay, any questions? If not, Scott, are we ready to go on and purchase the truck before?
Y'all give me a good grace on it, I can call and have her ordered today. It's
I
about
just don't want to wait till the next year comes along and the price goes up.
Exactly.
15%.
It's about a 45 to 60 day turnaround once we sign this paperwork and tell them to send it to us to get it ordered.
It's just the court's wishes to go on and take advantage of the 50,000. Now, we don't get a check. We have to buy the truck and then submit the
Yep.
purchase order to the tobacco settlement company, and then they forward a check for the 50 to us. That's the way it works with the state.
Yes, sir.
You probably done looked in this on the wheelbase on the truck. Is it gonna match the bed on the?
Yeah, actually, the wheelbase was 120. The cab to chassis wheelbase was 125 inches. That's very similar to the existing truck that we have. And I've talked with Bluegrass International Trucks, and they said that spec design on the truck will accommodate the 16-foot new aluminum bed. Everything will check out okay on that.
Okay, so it would be, in my opinion, that it would be better for us to go on, especially with a 45 to 60-day window, to go on and let Scott proceed with ordering the truck.
This will be a heavier truck than any county vehicle we got one. We don't have any 7400s there.
The recycle truck's a 7400. The 7400 models on the state contract single axle dump truck, the state highway department, it's their spec that they use for their single axle tandem, or not tandem, but single axle dump truck.
Well, it'd have to be a four-wheel drive as heavy as that's gonna be.
Yeah.
Because they'd be stuck every time they go somewhere.
Well, no, we make them pull them to the closest blacktop or rock.
How heavy 7400?
Its GVW will be 33,000 pounds, which is almost the exact same spec as the previous truck.
It ain't four-wheel drive, is it?
No, sir.
I make a motion that we approve this bid.
Okay.
Second.
Master King,
Yes.
Master Hughes.
Yes.
Master Combs,
Yes.
Judge Clark.
Yes.
Master Barker,
Yes.
Gibson.
Thank you.
Thanks, Scott. We appreciate all y'all's work. Next on the agenda is Kelly McBride is here. Carl is at the depot with our friends from Washington and CSEP,
That's correct.
where I'm going shortly.
Yes, and I'll see you there too.
And we've got an IPT meeting out there, and then we're discussing the expansion of the OC. And Kelly wanted to go over a few things that they are asking to bid on.
Yes, thank you for your time, and you've already taken care of the first item of business. Carl and Michael send their regrets they couldn't be here today. So I'm going to be presenting the recommendation for the promotional items bid award. In your packets of information, you'll find an overview of the bid process. Initially, we had 7 companies or 7 vendors who were interested in the process. 5 of those were represented at an informational meeting that we had at the EOC. And then 4 finally submitted bids. And on February 5th, Mr. Barger allowed me to come to his office where he opened the sealed bids. And this allowed us to proceed in a more timely fashion with the bid process. In times past, we would bring the bids to a court meeting, have them opened, then wait 2 more weeks, and then announce the award. And this saves time. It's a better, efficient use of the court's time, our time, and the vendor's time.
We all trust Kenny.
I believe so. He's trustworthy. So in your packet, also, you have a chart laying out the comparisons of the bids. And we had 4 very strong bids, but while all 4 were very strong, there's always one that has the lowest bid. And that is what I am recommending, that we award the bid to Thompson Promotional Products, as they have the lowest bid.
They are a Richmond company.
Yes. We had 3 vendors who are from Richmond, and then we had one that was outside of Madison County, but they were from Mount Vernon, so definitely within our region. It's nice to keep the business local.
Okay, any questions for Kelly?
Looks like a good job on bidding, and it's always good to see that low of a estimate with all the others being compatible, so.
We feel like this process has kept, kept the price low and within our budget.
Okay, on to Carl and Michael and Kelly's recommendation on the promotional item, Thompson Promotional Products that would be the benefactor. Any other questions? If not, a motion will be in order upon their recommendation to approve Thompson Promotional Products.
So moved.
Master King,
Yes.
Master Barker.
Yes.
Master Hughes. Yes. Master Combs.
Yes.
Judge Clark.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Kelly. See you after a while. Judge's report, one thing, business at noon, February 22nd, and our new Congressman, Andy Barr, will be out to speak to us. It'll be out at the Armed Service Building. We hope everybody can come out there. Andy's a dynamo. He's a very energetic person. He's been in a couple times to see me, and I think he's going to do an excellent job. And look forward to seeing everybody that can come out to the luncheon on the 22nd. And that's all I have on the agenda. I would ask for comments from department heads. Do we have any? If not, we'll go to comments from magistrates. Greg?
Looks like spring's just around the corner. Grass will be growing for long.
We hope so.
And our state roads is still polluted. So other than that, that's it.
Roger?
Just want to touch on something that Jimmy Cornelison mentioned and brought up. I was going to mention it anyway. Our conference that we just had, there was a speaker, and I can't tell you which one it was. There's 4 or 5 in a row, so I don't remember which one it was that mentioned it. But we got a real problem in the state, and other states has got it too. But here's how it impacts a lot of people that you don't really realize. There was a small factory in southeastern county. They already had a operating small factory. They had the opportunity to add 65 jobs, build onto their plant. They couldn't find anybody that would test good enough that wasn't on drugs to get 65. They could get 10. So that factory lost those 65 jobs and it went to another state. This is how it impacts your economy. You can't grow your economy as long as this drug situation is like it is. And it's not getting any better. But that's how it just doesn't affect a family. It affects the whole state. It affects every county. So he touched on a good point, and they're going to a cheaper drug now because of the others has got so high. So they're going to do what they got to do. So I don't know what the end is to it. But, somehow we just got to educate people more about how it affects everybody. But, that's all I got, Joe.
You know, it's interesting, Roger. We had a regional economic development summit last Wednesday night, I think, in Lexington. And one of the best represented meetings we've had as far as a regional meeting, we had 11 county judges and 15 mayors there. And the biggest topic of anything and everything that we've got to get involved in is drugs. Every county, every mayor, every city, it's just drugs. And there's no quick fix. I mean, I think it's getting to the kids when they're in school. I think it's the government supporting more programs in school. But then, you don't know. But it's like in Madison County, and I tell people when I speak to them, anybody in Madison County that wants to get a job, that'll show up on time and do what they're told and can pass a drug test, can get a good paying job. So it's something that we hope doesn't get worse, but it probably is. And it's something that we've all got to address. We can't keep putting it off. Bill Ray?
Anybody watched the Super Bowl, one of the most popular commercials was that one where God made a farmer. And you think about farmers, and I like to call myself a farmer, but I'm not near as big as Squire Combs here. But I don't know a farmer that doesn't want to leave the land better than he found it. Well, we got coming up in March, and Secretary of Agriculture Comer was talking about this in Lexington last week. Farm tags are coming due in March, and farmers have an opportunity to contribute an extra $10 when they renew their license tags, and that money goes to invest back into the 4-H program, the FFA program, and the Kentucky Proud program. So I want to encourage the farmers and those who have them farm tags to invest in our youth and put a little bit of money back for, how many of us has been in 4-H? How many of us has been in FFA and want to support the Kentucky Proud program? It's a good investment, and I want to encourage our folks to do that when they renew their farm tags this year.
Billy Ray, that money's not been going to those 3 organizations. It's just now started that.
Right.
Too. So it's a good thing.
Jamie starting that. And also from one of our magistrates, I received a resolution supporting hemp farming. And that will probably, when y'all kind of think about it a little bit, we had a senator and 2 congressmen testify in front of committee yesterday in Frankfort for it. So I'm going to probably put it on the agenda just for discussion at our next meeting and see how everybody feels about it. Larry?
I watched that debate on Bill Goodman on TV, and it was very interesting. You know, they had a panel of 4. Unite was there, and then, of course, state police, and you could see both sides, and it is hard to weigh that out. And that'll be a tough decision. I don't know that it'll pass, but I say it's probably got a good shot of passing.
It shouldn't be a tough decision.
Well, it shouldn't be, but it will be. And as far as you compliment small farmer, big farmer, there's no advantage. You just spend more money. That's what it amounts to. More stress, more headaches, more calling the dead wagon to come get. So, yeah, we're gonna need a bigger truck. But anyway, other than that, I'm just glad to be here, Judge, and I'm looking forward to spring.
Glad you're here. Okay, do we have any comments from the audience? I see we've got some people here. Would anybody like to come up and address the court?
Now's your chance.
I'd like to as a citizen, if that's all right.
That's quite all right, Dwayne.
Here we go.
Well, take your shirt off.
As a citizen, I just want to say, I appreciate the court, the county, and EMS for what they do. Many of you know, my brother, back about 3 weeks ago, was at the Y working out, had a sudden cardiac death, and the judge has reiterated, and it's been put on stationery and on the website and everywhere, that Madison County is a good place to live, learn, and grow. And Madison County is full of good people. When my brother had the heart attack at the Y because of a staff member at the Y and just a good citizen in Madison County, they immediately started CPR within 1 minute of the time he hit the floor. EMS showed up, and with their quick response and their diligence, they brought him back within 3 days. He texted me and said he had already walked his first 2.5 miles. Because of rapid response of good citizens in this community and the good services that this court and the county offers to the citizens of the community, it's easy to fuss about taxing districts and our taxes are too high, but the taxes are never too high when it's your own family. And it's very much appreciated, and I just wanted as a citizen to let you guys know that myself and my family appreciate the work you do and the work this county does and the good work that the citizens, there are good people in this community. The community is full of good people that volunteer and are willing to do the right thing. Gary Ford, who's a retired football coach at Madison Central, he's the one that did the chest compressions on my brother. He said after the fact, he said, I went home and told my wife, well, if this don't go well, I'm probably going to get sued. But you got people that's willing to do the right thing for the right reason, and I just appreciate that and just wanted you guys to know from a citizen standpoint, it is important, and we appreciate that very much.
I appreciate your
you,
comments, because
Dwayne.
we don't hear the good, we always hear the bad.
I understand.
Okay, anybody else from the audience?
One thing,
Glenn?
my son's on the B. Michael Cottle Middle School archery team, and they went down in October and won the world competition down there. And Jared Carpenter invited them today. The whole team got to go to Frankfurt on the Senate floor, and they were voting on putting up a sign in Madison County stating it was the home of the B. Michael Cottle team, world archery team. And I thought that was very considerate of Jared, and
Congratulations.
and they were really looking forward, the kids were looking forward to going down there today.
You should have been there.
We'll all be there.
Okay. Good deal. Okay, if that's all from the audience, motion to pay the claims and approve the transfer.
So move.
Second.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Barger?
Yes.
Mr. Hughes?
Yes.
Mr. Combs?
Yes.
Judge Clark?
Yes. Thank everybody for coming in. We appreciate it. Cole Lance, good to see you. Thanks for coming over.